writers! Today I'd like to show you how I use my notebook as a researcher. There may be a few things that you decide to do too.
A page that I keep in almost all of my notebooks is an I'm Curious page. I think this page is important as a researcher because it keeps me active about the things I'm curious about. I almost always use sketches and words. Here's a fourth grader's notebook. If you'll notice, at the top of the page, he put the word science. And then he's done lots of things that he's curious about science. You'll see superhumans, electricity, and radioactivity, all the way down there under his central I'm curious about start to this page. You can do some deep thinking about the things that you're curious about. As researchers, we want to stay curious. One of the things that happen when we're curious is we begin asking questions. And as a researcher, I use my notebook to collect those questions. The questions don't have to be formal or even serious. They're whatever come to mind. So here's a page in my notebook where I've collected just a list of questions about tornadoes. It's something that my kids are curious about. And so I just wrote down some of the questions I've heard them asking. Fourth grader Madeline combined the curious page and the questions page, and you can see that here. I'm curious about the world, and then some of the questions she's been asking. Another kind of notebook page I like to keep is one called Fierce Wonderings. Now, these are wonderings that really cling to your mind, the things that you can't shake loose. Like, I'm wondering about how scientists discover new animals. What's the process? And have those new animals been around for a long time? Or are they brand new to the earth? Or I wonder, is it better to have a pet you love and then be sad, or not to have a pet at all? Here's a page from a second grader about her fierce wonderings. I think you should add one to your notebook too.
Writers, before you go off and begin using your notebook as a researcher, I'd like for you to turn and talk to someone near you. Tell them the kind of page that you're planning on starting in your notebook, and then spend some time talking with that person about some of the things that you might include on that page. Think back and remember the things that used to make you curious. Think back to the past few days about things that you've been interested in. And then take some time to include those in your notebook as a researcher.